it's fine. Where acting is okay.
Welcome to another episode of Chewing the Fat. I am your host, Big Rob. Thank you so much for tuning in, downloading the podcast. I certainly do appreciate that. And to the folks that have brought me a coffee at chewingthefatbr.com, thank you so much for supporting this podcast. I really do appreciate it. It is one of the favorite things that I do during the week is to create this podcast, because I do believe the more that we can have these conversations about the things that keep us down, the easier it is to get through them. And I could not do that without my guests. And I have a new friend here from the VO community that I have just fallen in love with. He is a great human being, calling us from Clarksburg, Maryland, that is in the DMV, not DMZ, as I originally said. He's not in the demilitarized zone. Please welcome Terry Briscoe.
Hey, Big Rob, what's up, man? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you for being here, Terry. I really do appreciate it. You know what I'm going to say? I don't remember exactly how I met Terry. He just kind of came into my world. It's just as the the VO community grows and you make connections and you know people know people, and you get introduced to people and you start seeing the same people in workouts and on calls and, that stuff. And probably saw you working on the Leo Braun stuff. Seen a lot of people posting about Leo Braun. That's another audio drama podcast. It's a great podcast if you're into like horror stories and long form world building, storytelling. You got to check out Leo Braun at BRAWN. It's a great podcast. Jason Beard, great writer for that. But I think I saw you were involved in that. And I think I just reached out and be like, hey.
That's exactly what happened.
How can I get to be part of that? Because that sounds cool.
That is exactly what happened. You reached out to me. I think you started as a fan of the show.
Yeah.
And you reached out to me based upon that.
Yeah.
And you was like, hey, man, how can I get on here? And I'm like, well, let me make a phone call. Let me see what we can do.
We need dead body number 3 or anything, just something, be a part of it. And yeah, so again, I love doing that podcast as well. It's just great writing. Jason's done some great writing, but your work in it as Willie Topaz.
I love how everyone says his name differently. Whenever everyone says it, they drop into like a slight Terry impression.
I just feel like, sometimes people and you have to say their whole name. Like when you talk to them, you're like, oh, that's Jim Collins or whoever. You can't just say that's Jim or that's, I feel like Willie Topaz is one of those names you can't just say, oh, that's Willie. Well, that's Mr. Topaz.
It's a package deal. That's a package
Willie
deal.
Topaz. Exactly.
His name's Willie Topaz. Willie Topaz. Not Willie or Topaz. Exactly. Willie Topaz.
Exactly. So Terry, you're up in Maryland, and is that home base for you? Is that where you born, raised, grew up?
I was actually born in Georgia, but have no recollection because I was months old when we moved to the D.C. area. My dad is from D.C. My whole family is from D.C. except for my mom's folks, who I don't really know.
Okay.
But they moved up here when I think I was 3 months old.
Okay.
So I've been in the D.C. area outside of where I was stationed in different military places most of my life.
Okay. So growing up, were you always into like the entertaining thing and telling stories, or were you that funny kid in class, like to do all the funny voices? I mean, or how did voice acting become your thing?
It's mine is a circuitous route to voice acting. I did not grow up in the performing arts until I wrote poetry in high school.
Okay.
And I was actually pretty good at it, but I never pursued doing it on stage or anything of that nature. Mm-hmm. So then when I went as a freshman at Towson University, I befriended my college roommate, and I met he knew other guys that were rappers.
Okay. And
it was just a natural progression for me going into spoken word poetry into rapping.
Okay.
Especially in the 90s when the golden era of hip hop, right? Mm-hmm. But as a child, I actually used to sit under it's a well-known story now. I used to lay underneath my coffee table and watch cartoons and wrestling and all that stuff in the morning.
Yeah.
And this is when you're old enough to actually know this commercial. The Know My Brother, You Got to Buy Your Own. that way. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I didn't know this until I was an adult, but Dave Fennoy actually does the voiceover in that commercial. He doesn't say that line, but he does the commercial for, he's like the sounds of the 70s.
Yeah.
It's Dave Fennoy when he was a young man. So I was literally laying underneath my coffee table listening to and imitating Dave Fennoy when I was a little tyke.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is
so I always had that in my mind. Him, that commercial, and Optimus Prime. So I've always been my whole life. I'm like, man, I always wanted to do that. But, as so many of us, we don't know that's a real job.
Yeah. And especially if you're in a smaller town, you're near D.C., but D.C. is all about politics.
But at that time I was actually in D.C.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like, that's what everybody associates with D.C. Although D.C. has an amazing jazz culture and music culture there too. And
go-go we have our very own style of music called go-go that is indigenous to the DC area.
Yeah.
And the movie Bustin' Loose, the theme song Bustin' Loose from Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers, that is the original go-go band.
Oh wow.
And basically just invented an entirely different music that just never took off anywhere else but here.
That's wild. Wild. But yeah. And so I mean, so you're in an area where there's life, there's culture, there's things that you can get involved in. But yeah, like I said, for the most part, people know DC that's the nation's capital, and politics and all that stuff that goes on there. So I guess living in an area like that, growing up in an area that can kind of give you a different type of perspective on finding the things that you're interested in that aren't what the area you're in are known for.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. Yeah. And even we do have a little, it's there are so many films that are DC centric, but they're not actually filmed in DC because you can't film in DC.
Right.
And people don't know that. Most of the stuff's filmed in Baltimore or Northern Virginia because you can actually get permits there and you can't get permits to film in DC.
Wow.
So, but people think that there's this thriving atmosphere of movie making in DC, but it's not at all.
Right. Yeah, I know. I've got some friends that work on Broadway, and a lot of times they will workshop shows in DC before they then move it into their their Broadway run or whatever like that. So I have friends that like I said, there's artists, there's a life, there's that type of stuff that's going on there, but it's not necessarily the way that you think.
Yeah, it's not big here. It's like you said, this is the place that you come to. I mean, we have world famous the Warner Theater. We have world famous theaters here. The Kennedy Center. I was actually one of my dream jobs that I booked. I actually got to do a promo for the Warner Theater.
Oh wow!
So I was like, this is growing up around here, and the icon that is the Warner Theater. I got to do a job for them. I'm like, yay!
Yeah. We all have our own personal little bucket lists and things like, man, I'd love to be involved in that. I'd love to be and even if you didn't even realize it, you're like, oh wait, I remember walking past and saying, I remember seeing this, and I remember, you know what I mean, to be associated with that, and nobody may ever know your name. You're just the voice on the promo, but you're like, that's me. I can put that on my resume now.
Yes. Yes. Again, some of these people that I imitated as a kid, I imitated the DC lottery guy. And then I got that phone call while I was outside playing basketball one day, and the guy was like, all right, yeah, we wanted you for the DC Powerball commercial. And I'm like,
and that's the cool thing. So there's another little Terry somewhere in the DMV that heard that commercial sitting under the coffee table and might be like, oh, man, I'd like to do that one day.
Oh man, so this is a super cool story. So that commercial was on the radio, and I was in a movie that I was fortunate enough to actually win a Best Supporting Actor award for in this movie. In order for it to receive Oscar consideration, you had to have a debut in, I want to say, New York or LA. So it's terribly small movie, man. There's no budget, but it was just, it was fun to do, and I never thought I'd be in a movie.
Right.
But the song, one of the songs on the soundtrack was going to be nominated for an Oscar. Thereby, the whole movie is now nominated for an Oscar as well.
Right.
So we had to have a debut. We went up to New York for a debut in Manhattan, And I was riding with my friend before we hopped on the bus. The whole cast, he had paid for the director paid for a bus for us to go up to Manhattan and watch our movie. Mm-hmm. And we were in Dunkin' Donuts, the line and drive-through, and then my commercial came on for the DC Lottery that morning. And then so we went from that to going up to Manhattan to watch our own movie that was on the billboard with Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, this is like the dopest day ever, right?
Yeah.
Can't get any better than that.
Dang. Was that Lion of Judah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes, it was. Cool. Yeah, Lion of Judah Legacy, because there's another movie called Lion of Judah.
Yeah. Very cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a cool day.
Dang. So you spoke of not really pursuing the arts per se. Mm-hmm. You started, writing poetry, doing some rap. Come out of high school. Where does Terry go? What's Terry's next move right out of high school there?
Well, I had actually committed to joining the Army Reserves.
Okay.
Before I even went to, I wasn't even 18 years old when I committed to going to the Army Reserves. I was 17 when I signed up. And so my next move was going to go do my training. And my training was like most people go for MOS. Mm-hmm. The usual is between 3 and 6 months. Mm-hmm. But I had a double MOS. So I had to go for like a year. Mm-hmm. And then that means when I came back, I was already like 1 year removed from my high school class into college.
Gotcha.
For my freshman year at Towson.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in school, then what were you studying? What were you?
Psychology and mass communications.
Okay. So mass communications, that kind of keeps you like a pinky finger, in kind of that realm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and when I was attending Towson, I actually did work for a radio station as a promotions assistant.
Okay.
So I never was on the air, drive the van, get people to eat chicken wing competitions. Best job ever because it was working for the Ravens when they won the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
So I was working for them and had the best deal ever. So I was a member of a team, mm-hmm. and we used to do the Tony Saragusa show, the radio show.
Yeah.
Who went on to be in The Sopranos. Mm-hmm. So we used to do his show every week, and we had an open tab at the bar. We could eat anything we wanted, we could drink anything we wanted, and my partner didn't drink. Oh. So I never had to worry about driving. So they were essentially paying me $10 an hour just to go and get hammered and then get beautiful women to go talk to $1 million athletes and be in chicken wing eating competitions. It was amazing. Best job ever.
Yeah. Oh, look. I worked in radio for a long time, and it's one of those jobs that like you don't do it for the money because they don't pay hardly anything, but you get the best stories because people would not believe it.
Absolutely.
That these things happen. Yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome. So did you after Towson and all that, did you then go in to serve military or?
I did like 3.5 years and it was done. And I was out. I actually got a general discharge under honorable conditions because when that year, I had like a half a year, like 6 months left before I fulfilled when I can go into the inactive ready reserve.
Right.
And my father passed away 10 days after my 22nd birthday. Oh. And, I come home and actually weird, my brother had just been released from prison.
Oh, wow.
And he was under my custody in Baltimore, Towson. Mm-hmm. And he lived with me for the final 3 months of his sentence. And our father was sick. He had cancer. Mm-hmm. And the day, November 16th, the day my brother came off of release, my dad died the same day.
Oh, damn.
So, so we are, mourning. I'm working 2 jobs. I'm in the reserves. I'm taking like 14 credits. I'm doing I was taking 300 level courses. Yeah. And, the pressure just got to me, man. And I was just like, he was like, man, you want to smoke some weed? I was like, all right, yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. I smoked. And then that just so happened 2 weeks later, we went up to New Jersey to go to our summer, our 2-week summer thing we had to do. And they tested us there.
Dang.
And so I got like what they call an administrative discharge. It's general under honorable conditions because I never really did anything wrong except this one thing. But they never even gave me like a trial.
Wow.
So my service ended in 3.5 years. Yep. So then I returned back to Towson, and I did that for like another 1.5 years, and then the money ran out.
Yeah.
And so I was just in Baltimore, just working, and after a while, I was just like, why am I here right now? I was gonna move. I moved here to go to college. I'm no longer going to college. I'm leaving without a degree.
Right.
No longer in the military. So I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And I left everything I owned.
Wow. Where'd you head to?
I came back down here. I graduated from high school at Springbrook in Montgomery County in Silver Spring, Maryland. Okay. And my family, my brothers were still here. My mom lived in Hyattsville. And so I just came back down here. My brother was like, yeah, come on, just move back. And I went to live with him for like a very short amount of time because I just couldn't. I just couldn't. And then so I just moved out after and then I met my wife for like three months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So definitely something great came out of that then. I mean, as tumultuous as it seems, I mean.
Yeah. It all ended up on the bright side, right?
Well, what's the path? What are the dots that connect between that point and 2021 when you say you started your true voice acting career? Sure.
So I began after I met my wife, I got a job as a truck driver. And went from being a truck driver to being a transit bus driver. And then that's when I got sick. For your listeners who do not know, I have multiple sclerosis. And my MS cost me my career because, kind of a dangerous career to have if you have MS. Right. And so I started my transportation company. Man, this is a really circuitous route.
No, it's fascinating.
And so I started my own individual transportation company where I was doing non-emergency medical transportation. One of my bus driver buddies, Keith Jenkins, man, saved my life. He's like, he owned a company where he had senior group homes. And one of the side hustles he did with them was he took them to their doctor's appointments as well. Yeah. So he was like, I'll teach you how to do this business. And he did. I mean, gave him my first clients, everything. And so I did that I still do it now, actually. My company's still active. I just celebrate my 11th year. Yeah. So the pandemic is where are the dots that connect it all together.
Yeah.
So I'm running my business. And I think it was my 7th year of my business or 8th year at that point. And then the pandemic comes down. So ironically, though, while the pandemic was new, it was news to everyone else. The pandemic was not news to me. My youngest daughter, who's getting ready to graduate and go to Arizona State. She's committed last week. She was supposed to go to Beijing on a school trip in the spring of 2020. Right? So from 2019 on, I had at the bottom half of 2019 on, I had my ear to the ground and what was going on in China. I was paying crazy attention to what was going on. I was sending my baby over there. So once the report started coming through, I was like, you ain't taking that trip. This is not. Well, they canceled it anyway, but yeah, I was like, you're definitely not going.
Yeah.
But because I had paid thousands of dollars for this trip to go down, and I knew that the pandemic was coming down the pipe, I had stored up stuff. I had saved up money, all of that stuff. So it wasn't news to me when it hit. However, I was not expecting it to hit like the way that it did. I lost $3,000 in income the first month.
Yeah.
From people.
You can't pick people up. Right. They ain't going nowhere. You can't take them anywhere. You can't,
doctor's offices aren't open.
Right.
Yeah. So I was like, oh man, okay. And then they came through with the stimulus checks, right? And I said, you know what? It's this thing that's been eating at me my whole life that I just never did. And I saw one of those, the Facebook,
you know the ads.
You know the ads.
You can make a 7-figure salary in 90 seconds. With your voice and no microphone. Yep.
I already knew that was BS. So
right.
But I've been using my voice my entire life. I was in chorus when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I didn't even mention that, but yeah, I was a chorus when I started out in chorus as a child. Mm-hmm. Carried that all the way through high school. Did spoken word poetry, going with the rapping. So I had always been using my voice, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. That's what I've always wanted to do, and I'm gonna go for it. So I took the stimulus money and I built myself a booth, and not this one, but but yeah, built it. And I contacted Such a Voices where I came through.
Okay.
And I met Tim Powers.
Nice.
He was my first coach, that's an enormous blessing, because I know people who did not have that experience, and he's been very influential in not only my voiceover career but my life as well.
Yeah. My first time meeting him this year at VO Atlanta, and he's just such a
great guy,
solid dude, just a solid
great
dude.
Guy, man. Keep the shirt off his back, man.
Yeah, shout out Tim Powers.
Yeah.
But okay. So, so it was a little bit more than, like I said, 90 seconds, and before you bringing down your 7-figure salary, right? So I mean, it was like a minute 10, maybe.
Yeah.
Or, I guess that'd be less. That'd be
2 minutes tops.
Seconds. Yeah, you go. 180 seconds. There you go. So what was that start like? Like, say you got a great coach to start it, and you're saying easily it's not that, snap your fingers and you're the next thing. You didn't get called instantly to be the next Powerball DC voice.
No,
You didn't get instantly called to, do the other thing. You know what I mean? Do the theater. You had to work at it, right? So
I did have to work at it. I will admit that I have been fortunate and talented, and educated enough where all things intersected, and success happened relatively fast for me compared to how most people experience voiceover. I got my demos in my hand. And as the story goes, another one of those stories. As the story goes, I had a part-time job as a liquor store clerk in my county, because that's a government job in my county.
Oh wow!
So for 20 years, so I had like a 12 to 20 hour job where I got full benefits, including So I was like, love this job, love it. But I had to get rid of that job because I had an attack or a relapse the 9th month of the job. But Tim had given me a book to read, and I bought it and was like, all right, okay. So I'm standing there during slow times at the store. I'm standing there and I'm reading the book, and it was a voice actor by Tara Platt and Yuri Lowenthal. And guy walks up to me. Everybody's masked up. I couldn't see what the guy was, but he walks up to me and he says, hey, you're an actor. And I'm so green at that point, I don't even accept it. I'm an actor. You know what I mean? Like,
right. You're like,
I wouldn't say that. Like, I haven't booked anything.
I'm reading the book.
I'm reading it, but I'm trying to be a voice actor, right? That thing where we had to really have that light that goes on as voice acting is acting.
Yes, right. It is.
Right?
Yeah.
It is. So guy's like, oh man, I'm an actor too. Here's my telephone number. And I'm in my head, I'm like, yeah, of course, sure you're an actor, right?
right. Okay, great.
Sure, you're an actor. And so I lose the number that he gives me because he just wrote it on a little piece of paper. And so he came back in the store a couple weeks later, and he's like, hey man, you never called me. But here's my actual card. He gives me his card, and he has IMDb on the back of his card.
Okay.
So I'm like, this dude is actually an actor. So I go home or like doing my break or something, and I look him up. And I was like, this dude was in The Dark Knight. And I was like, oh my God, this dude's like a real actor. Okay.
He's been in some things.
It's like, oh, okay, cool. And then so I called him. I was like, hey man, I just got my demo back. And I was like, can I, because he did some voice acting as well. I was like, hey man, can I send you my demo? Can you like give me your assessment and tell me if it's any good? I mean, I think it's good, but you know, Tim told me it's good. I trust Tim's opinion, but you know, you need more ears on these things.
Right.
He was like, hey, absolutely, send it to me. So he sent it to him. And then he was like, wow, that was really, really good, man. Do you mind if I pass along your demo? And I was like, man, pass it on to everyone. And he's like, cool. I got a director buddy who I like to hear it. And so he sent it to him. His name's June DeGiso from MJD Productions. He does local movies in this area. And the dude calls me. He's like, hey, I liked your demo a lot. I'm shooting a movie next weekend, and I would like to know if you like a part in the movie. And I'm like, a movie? Like,
right.
I go, with real people?
like on camera? You mean
on camera? I was like, he's like, yeah, I got a role for you. And I'm like, so I'm like, I mean, sure, why the hell not? I've never done it before. Why the hell not?
Right.
And so I'm thinking I'm going to be like, you know, like standing on a corner, like something, you know, maybe sitting in the chair at a bus stop or something.
With like a red stocking cap on because
why not?
Because why not? You know what I mean? Because that's just the look, right?
Yeah. But he actually gave me 9 lines in the movie.
Okay.
So I was like, oh my God, I actually got an IMDb credit for this.
Nice.
Yeah. First out the shoot, they were like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know what blocking is. I don't know nothing about nothing.
Right.
I go on the site, they're just like, all right, I just like, tell me what to do. They're like, yeah, go over there. All right, when I hit 3, 2, 1, you come through the gate holding the gun, and we're good to go. I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. And they were like, you're a natural. And I'm like,
cool.
All right.
Of course I am.
So I wind up, and the irony in all of that is, so one of the guys who's like one of his associates, Francisco Anderson, he wrote a movie that he wanted to be done. And they originally hired the guy that my character's name is Jimmy Crow.
Oh, wow.
That's the role that I won the award for.
Okay.
So they originally wrote it for a white guy. Right? So he backed out. I guess he had something else to do.
Mm-hmm.
He backed out, and they were like, let's have Terry do it. He called me. I was like, oh, yeah, sure, whatever, man. Let's go down.
Right.
And, yeah, man, we go down and film it at Frank's, his sister's house. And she just passed away recently. Rest in peace to her. Yeah, and that was one of them. And so the scene, one of the scenes that I was in, I'm like a scumbag in the movie, obviously, because I had the name Jimmy Crow, right? So he's like the biggest sellout in the world.
Wow.
And there's this beautiful woman in the movie who is like the love interest of the main character. Mm-hmm. But I'm her boss at the corporation that we work at. Mm-hmm. And I am just so sleazy and grimy. It's just cringy. Like, I'm having a hard time doing it. Right? Because I just met this woman and I'm like,
I was never natural necessarily to you. This isn't second nature. You haven't been to like 4 years of Juilliard to be able to embody a different character and forget your own. Yeah. Right.
And so after a while, like we shoot like, I don't know, like 5 takes. I mean, I'm like, I'm having trouble. She's like, just do it. It's fine. We're acting. It's okay. And she said that, and I was like, all right. Cool. And I go full sleazy just guy. And then that's the role I wound up winning the award for.
Wow.
So thanks to her for giving me the permission to actually really flex in the role. And thanks for Frank to giving me the role to begin with.
Oh, that's really cool, man. That's really cool. So is there more on-camera stuff you want to do? I mean, so you're an actor now. You're a voice actor. That's how I know you. But I mean, obviously you're an actor as well. You can embody those characters. Do you want to do more stuff on cam?
I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm never going to do anything else because they're constantly asking me to do stuff. And thank goodness that they do. They have interest in me and think I'm good enough to do it. But it's not where my heart lies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I love voice acting, man.
Yeah.
I love voice acting. That's all I want to do, man.
Yeah.
I want to voice act and I want to teach other people to voice act. That's what
awesome.
I want to do. Yeah.
That's awesome. What's your favorite genre of voice acting right now?
Ooh, I think you know the answer, Rob.
What's that? Tell me.
I mean, first and foremost, we talking about finances, or we talking about where your heart lies.
All right. Commercial is always going to be the one that you do for the finances. Commercial's always going to be number one. That's going to be the one that's going to be, because everybody has a commercial. You know, and if you can get on a commercial, you can get some dollars in your pocket.
Yes.
You know, everybody wants to have a national commercial. Everybody wants to do that. Coca-Cola, whatever large brand that you just grew up with, and to have a part of that. That's, I think, as voice actors, that's a given. It doesn't matter if you're an audiobook actor or what. If somebody, you know, if Apple come and say, "Hey, Rob, would you do this spot?" I'd be like, "Yeah, sure would." Not going to turn that down.
No.
So yes. So we understand that commercial is always kind of there. It's always part of the plan, but sometimes it's not necessarily the dream, you know?
It is not. And the dream is obviously, from what I was mentioning earlier, watching Transformers as a little kid, obviously the dream is being on something like, not necessarily, for me, it's not necessarily like a Disney movie. A lot of people say Disney movie or Marvel movies. I don't necessarily want to be that. Like Kevin Michael Richardson, I don't know if you know who Kevin Michael Richardson is. Kevin Michael Richardson is one of my absolute favorite voice actors, and he doesn't have a signature role. He has a lot of great roles and a lot of roles that help stories move along and get good laughs and stuff. But he's in everything. Yeah, he is in everything, and I want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that is in it. I want to be the guy with the IMDb credits. There's so many. You got to flip the pages. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I want to be Jerome in Family Guy. I want to be, the sheriff in Gravity Falls. I want all of those, the versatility roles. That's what I want to be.
Yeah. As an on-camera actor, that'd be what they call the character actor.
Yes,
you want to be the one that they have. We have this weird puzzle piece that we need filled. Like, call Rob.
Gotcha.
Call Terry. They're the puzzle piece. They're those utility actors that can do whatever you need done.
Yeah,
and you don't
100%.
You don't get necessarily put into a pigeonhole like, oh, well, that's what he's known for, and anything he does kind of sounds like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You want to be that, like,
the
utility actor.
Piece.
That versatile. Yeah. I love that.
Absolutely. That is exactly what I want to be. But outside of that, I mean, I would love, you know what my dream would be?
What's that?
Like, if I could wave a magic wand and make something happen, it would be to play Willie Topaz in an animated version of Leo Braun. It's like for Adult Swim.
Oh, wow.
That would be amazing. Like a DC Comics style animation movie with Leo Braun.
Like a what do they call it? Graphic novelist.
Yes.
Graphic novel style.
Yes.
Almost like a Sin City type of.
I love Sin City so much.
Something like that. Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be so cool. And I could hear Stitch now.
Yeah.
With the drawing of Leo. Oh man. Yeah. That would be everything. And that's a character that, I've built from the ground up with Jason. He does the writing and I bring myself to the role. And to be able to continue that on in an animated series would be the dream.
Well, and that's a role that started with Leo Braun, but you do have a spinoff series that is coming, right?
Yes.
So
we do. And it's a comedy. Outrageously, it's a comedy coming from a horror. Right.
But I mean, one that does show just some of the genius of the writing of this,
for sure,
that Jason has and all. But also to hear something in your performance to say, you know what, this is not that one note sonnet. This is something that has depth and has character that we can pull from and bring other things to light in it. So to be able to bring a comedy from what was created as a horror, I mean, that's pretty spectacular.
I think, I don't know if I've ever seen it go that way before.
Right.
That's very unique in its own way. And I mean, like a lot of that is Jim. Because playing off of Jim is so easy to make things funny, right? I don't necessarily think I'm a stand-up comedian funny kind of guy. Like I can put a quip in there here and there, and I make Willie sound funny with his arrogance and stuff. But I mean, Jim's just a funny guy.
Yeah, Jim Frank is He's hilarious.
And
but yeah,
I love doing this with him.
But yeah, and that kind of goes back to Tim Powers and the improv and being able to be in the moment and to, when you have a great scene partner to play with, you can just create these just hilarious things, and you can be open to to be comfortable that all right, whatever ridiculous thing I'm going to say, Jim's going to pick it up and he's going to run with it. And then I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to run with it. And I'm going to pick it up and run, you know what I mean? As opposed to that's not what the script says,
It's pretty effortless, man, working with him. And Jason gives us all the freedom in the world.
That's awesome.
To make these characters our own. And big kudos to him, man, because I know what it's like turning over something that you wrote to someone else. You're like, oh, I don't know about that.
So when will Topaz and Stillman be out? And is it going to be released as the entire series at once, or is it going to be trickled out? Or
it's going to be, from what I understand, it will be summer, and it will be a good chunk at a time. I don't necessarily say it's going to be 100% of the episodes in season 1, but I know that we wanted it to. We might actually push it back a little bit more to let it get a little bit more of a burn going.
Right. So you can really get some binging going on. You can be stuck listening 20 minutes or whatever and be like,
I don't know about you, but I do that. I binge stuff. Whenever I've been binging The Devil's Den.
Yeah. which is also a side podcast for Leo Braun. I mean, Jason is and then Jason's got other podcasts that are out now. Magnetar. I mean, it's just other things
that are coming. Jason's in a groove right now, man.
Yeah. Lots of cool stuff happening.
Shoestring TV, baby, let's go.
Yep. And and I mean, I feel honored to be just again a small part of that universe. It's great to be able to be proud of something like that. In a, like you said, when we talk about doing, commercials and this, that, and the other, this is a passion project. This is not about a pay project. You know what I mean? This is we doing this because we love it, because of the writing, the people you're working with, the storytelling, the world building is just amazing. Jason's just doing a great job.
I almost didn't do it because I was starting to get really busy. And I just, he doesn't have the money to pay right now because it's not making any money. So I was like, I don't think I could take on a free project right now. I just don't have the time, man. But Eric Carlino, who plays Herman and many other characters in the show, when Jason was looking for the character, he recommended me. So based on, my relationship with Eric, I was like, all right, I'll at least hear the man out because, Eric, I'm not going to make him look bad recommending me, and I don't even give him the time of the day, right?
Don't even, just left on red.
Yeah. I'm not going to big time somebody.
Right.
So he sent it to me. We had a meeting, and he's like, all right, man. So I liked him, and I was like, I tell you what, send me the script and I'll read it and I'll let you know if I can do it. How's that? He's like, all right, that's all I can ask. He sent it to me, and of course, like we talked about earlier, Willie Topaz is one word. It's not. And I was like, I read that instantly, and I'm a November Scorpio, so my birthstone is a Topaz.
Oh wow!
It's all right. So, and I loved it. I love how it sounds. Willie Topaz just rolls off the tongue. I was like, as soon as I read that, I was like, I already know. I was like, I'm in. So, but then I actually read the script.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is just so well written. And I can be the only person that ever plays this character.
That's what I was going to say about, wanting to do an animated character or something like that, Optimus Prime. You want to be the person that originates that character that all the kids now imitate.
Yes.
That is one of, that's a little dream of mine. I'd love to have some character that, I originate and then everybody else does impressions of.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
100%. 100%.
It's just, that's because, yes, it's great if you can do an Optimus Prime or you can do whatever voice, but if you're the one that's the first one and the best one.
You're the source material.
The source material, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that idea for Willie Topaz, man. That's my favorite. I took two characters that I play in audio dramas, and ironically, both the showrunners are named Jason. I play a character named Folletto, and it's a pixie thug. He's like the henchman of the fairy godmother in this show called The Dad Bod of Destiny.
Okay.
And he sounds like Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
So for me to go from sounding like Willie Topaz to being able to sound like a pixie thug that sounds like Mickey Mouse, it's just fun stuff, man.
Yeah.
Audio dramas, like to go back to the question, audio dramas are the favorite thing that I do now, because it says I don't do animation right now.
Yeah.
Audio dramas are absolutely, oh man, I love them. So I cannot get enough of them.
And it's funny, like for me, like when I get the script for the audio drama or something like that, I read the whole script. I don't just like, all right, highlight, here are my lines, and where this is the pickup, and when I hear this line, then I talk, and the pickup. I don't do that. It's like I'm reading the story to be like, all right, what is the story?
Right.
And then I go back and be like, okay, what am I injecting into the story? I don't do that with pretty much any other source material other than like audio dramas, because
you get a fat script. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Like what you did with Turtle Top, it was awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. For you and what you've got going on, you're getting busier and busier, and I just think it's amazing. But outside of the work, what's bringing you joy?
Oh man, it's still kind of the work, but it's not me doing voice acting. I've recently began coaching.
Okay.
And I do an in-person voiceover course, which we don't do very much of these days anymore.
No,
so awesome. I get to actually instruct these students, and they're grown students, they're not like children. I get to actually instruct these students in person and to see their growth, week by week, to the point where I'm like almost ready to hand them off to individual coaches now. I'll teach it's like a course, not a individual coaching. Right. Although I will be doing that soon as well. But I never thought that coaching would be something that I would be able to do. Because number one, they're like, okay, like they said with the movie thing, quote unquote natural. How do you teach that? Right. I mean, you can teach people the basics and stuff like that, but if you don't have it, how do I teach it the way that I got it when my route has been so weird? Right. And I was very concerned about that at first when the woman asked me to come teach the class. I was like, there's a bad history of like the athletes that you think of that were good athletes typically are not good coaches. There's not a lot of Larry Birds out there, right? It's a lot more Magic Johnsons. They turn out not to be great coaches. They turn out to be great coaches, even though they were great players. Right. Sometimes you just can't teach the thing that made you work. Right. Because it doesn't necessarily work for everybody. It's not a mass replicatable type of process or thing. Again, if you're just natural at it, you're like, I can't tell you how to be funny. I can't tell you what's funny. I can't. You know what I mean? It's just I say things and people laugh. It just works for you, right? Or whatever or whatever it is. It's like I don't know if I can teach you how to do that. I can show you what I do, but I don't know that I can quantify it and say, all right, if you do this, then you're going to be this. Then it doesn't work that way. Like you asked me like earlier, like one of the biggest jobs that I booked in early, the first thing that I booked was a national commercial for the National MS Society. And the reason why was because when I found out that I have MS, I was lost. I didn't know anything about the disease whatsoever. The only thing that I knew, Richard Pryor died from it. That's the only thing that I knew about it, right? And so I was fearful. So I contacted the National MS Society to get educated. And they did that for me 10 years ago. They even paid a bill because I had to leave my job suddenly. And I was unemployed for 9 months and living off of credit cards. Wow. So they had a program where they paid like a $600 bill or something like that, like an electric bill. I was like, oh man, they're going to turn my lights off. So I contacted them and they're like, we got you. And they paid the bill and I never forgot it. So as soon as I got my demo in my hand, I contacted them. I was like, hey, I'm a voice actor now. I know you do ads. I'm not looking to get paid. I don't want to pay it back because you guys looked out for me, educated me, helped me get from underneath some debt. and I just want to give back to you. And they're like, we just so happy to have this campaign where we're kicking off like in the next month.
That's awesome.
And we listen to your demo and we'd love for you to be the voice of it.
That's so good.
So that, it's been a lot of serendipitous kind of situations for me. And that was the one that was my first big thing. And being able to put that on your resume when you're brand new in the industry, it's a huge thing for you. So, and I did get something from it, but I wasn't looking for money. I was just looking to give back to them. I know a lot of people are getting out of the industry, worried about AI. And I mean, it's fair.
It's fair.
It's fair.
Yeah.
But, learn the acting.
Mm-hmm.
You learn the acting and you're going to make it. And then there'll be a smaller pool for you. So I want to be a person that's paying that forward with teaching those acting skills to the next people that are coming in. So then they can pay it forward and put the ladder down for someone else, like it was done for me.
All right, Terry, this is the second segment of the show. This is where we dive a little bit deeper into your mental health journey. I definitely believe that the more we can talk about this stuff, the less scary it is, because depression, anxiety, those things want to tell you that you're alone. So the more people that talk about going through those things and we can find that common ground, the easier it is for us all to get through that. So for you, how do you keep the darkness at bay?
I knew the question was coming because I listened to your show. My answer is going to be different. I don't keep the darkness at bay. I embrace the darkness as part of the journey. Tupac has a song called So Many Tears, and it's my favorite Tupac song for many different reasons. But the beginning of the song is, back in elementary, I thrived on misery. Left me alone, I grew up amongst a dying breed. That's the intro. I grew up in D.C. in the 80s when D.C. was the murder capital.
Yeah.
And people were dropping like flies around me as a young man, 6, 7, 8 years old. So I got used to depressing situations, and death at a very early age. So I just kind of have always just incorporated that as part of life.
Yeah.
And just waking up another day and getting through that day. And there's going to be some happiness and there's going to be some sadness. And, it's just, and all of that is just part of the puzzle.
Yeah.
So that's how I've always looked at it, man. I try to do things that obviously make me happy. Voiceover makes me happy. Meeting all the people that I met, like you and, Mitch Lashinsky and Mike Pelletier and Mike Cunningham and just Jim and everyone that I've met along the path they've helped me. I've leaned on them in some tough times.
Yeah.
A lot of people know that I lost my brother last year. That was devastating. He was only 52 years old. So that was a very tough loss. And that is after, and my dad died when he was 59 years old, when I was 22 years old.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of used to having the men in the family not live to be old. You kind of get a certain mentality like, all right, well, I got to do what I need to do today.
Yeah.
Right. There's no time for BS. There's no time for excuses.
Yeah.
You got to, if something bad happens, you got to get through it. And then once you get through it, man, like you can. I think, as I've stated multiple times today, you helping other people is definitely something that will see you through dark times. Because you're focusing more on helping someone else than you are focusing on your own situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that, open yourself up for that. And again, it's not that you're trying to forget about what you got going on, but in the way that you're talking is like you realize, all right, well, sun's going to come up tomorrow. It's going to be another day. This may have not been a 100 day, but there's another chance for to have a 100 day tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if I could help somebody else have a 100 day tomorrow, or help somebody else have a 100 day today, maybe that makes it a 120 day for me. I
like your math.
You know what I mean? I mean, seriously.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
It's it's better than if I had concentrated on myself, because now I'm helping somebody else out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe it's because I see myself in them. Maybe I see, stuff that I've been through. You have a very unique situation with your point of view of getting diagnosed with MS later in your life. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I guarantee you there's people that if they get that diagnosis, they're going to freak out. You know what I mean? And you have a perspective where you can be like, hey, I was where you were. I didn't know what to do. I found the resources. Here's some resources. Let's just have that conversation. What's going through your mind? Because this is what was going on through my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And I think we all have those kind of things. And we just don't realize it sometimes until the situation arises. And you just have to be, if you're that empathetic person, if you're the type of person that thinks more of others than yourself, the universe gives you those opportunities to share that unique perspective that you have that nobody else really can.
Yeah, no doubt. That is a great way to put it. Absolutely a great way to put it. That you can take your pain and keep someone else from having to experience or bring them out of it.
All right, Terry, it's the third segment of the show. It's time now for the Fast Five. The Fast Five. It's time now for the Fast Five. Fast Five. Sorry, I'm still working on that theme song.
Best theme song in the game, man.
One of these days, somebody's going to write a theme song for me.
We'll have to get Mike Cunningham to sing it for you.
There we go. Do some harmonies or something. That'd be great. Get like a 4-part barbershop harmony for the Fast Five theme song. Or 5-part. That'd be even better.
5-part, yeah.
Make it make sense. The Fast Five is powered by Poddex. It's an app created by my friend Travis Brown. If you go to chewingthefatbr.com/poddex, it'll take you to where you can download the app for your favorite mobile device. It's made for podcasters, but it's great icebreaker questions you can use anytime. No wrong answers, just first thing come off the top of your head. You ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. If you could pick only one lesson to tell a new voiceover talent, what would it be?
One.
Come on, coach.
Authenticity from the top. Yep.
There we go. I love that. Be yourself.
Yep.
Because the world doesn't need anybody else but you.
Correct. And it ain't but one of you.
There you go. I love it. Question number 2. Okay, who was your biggest mentor or teacher this year?
This year, my biggest mentor has been David Goldberg.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I've been working with David for corporate narration and having to learn it completely. Like, it feels like opposite skill set from commercial. It's been tough. So, and he's a great teacher.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, question number 3. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Money not an issue. Portugal.
Yeah. Portugal. Yeah?
Yeah.
So have you been there before?
Great client. No, I have not. But I'm going to try to go next year.
Okay.
But they have a strong economy. The weather is good. They've got good food. It's centrally located. It's just like everything you need is right there. They got great beaches. It's like
there you go. And being in voiceover, you just take your rig wherever you are and you don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. All right, question number 4. What is your most treasured memory?
Oh, my most treasured memory is when my first daughter was born.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I want to say even before that. I'm gonna retract that. When my wife told me that she was pregnant with my first daughter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We used to work together in an office, and she was like, guess who's going to be a daddy?
Oh, wow.
Me?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
a great memory.
Yeah. I know for me, I remember when my first son was born. It's like that, and you can't explain it.
No,
you just, until it happens to you, until you become that father or that mother that first time and you see that child, it definitely does change your life forever. All right. Question number 5. What embarrasses you instantly?
I guess the few times where your kids have gotten mouthy in public. Because coming from a Black community, we don't we don't play that.
Yeah.
So like when that happened, your initial was like,
Yep.
you got to draw it back. Like, all right, yeah. Keep that on.
Come on.
Keep that under wraps. You got to talk with Tom like this.
Very tight-lipped, through the teeth. And the hand is not raised, but it's very stiff in the mold. It's like, I know. Stop it. Stop. Let's go. Yep. No, I love it. Well, that is our Fast 5. And that's the show. Terry, thank you so much for being here, man.
No, this was super fun, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I love this. If folks want to keep up with you, what's the best way they can do that?
The best way you could do it is go to my website, and that is briscoevo.com, because all of the socials are there. I'm not one of those people that have it where it's all the same on every social. Mm-hmm. But if you go on every social and type in Terry Briscoe, there's not a lot of us, so I'm going to come up.
Gotcha.
But all the links are right there at briscoevo.com.
Awesome. And I suppose if somebody needs that Briscoe VO magic, they can get in touch with you directly through the website as well.
Absolutely. Oh, and one thing we didn't get to talk about, don't forget to check out the Microphone Insider on Thursday evening, right? Every other Thursday.
Nice. Well, I'll put those links in the show notes for folks to find that. And again, Terry, man, this has been a blast. It's great knowing you. I wish you nothing but success in everything you got going on. I just love you, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. And if you would like to support this podcast, I'd appreciate it if you buy me a coffee at chewingthefatbr.com. But until next time, I look forward to the chance we have to sit a spell and chew the fat.